Hi, my name is Alex Swope. I am currently doing a presentation on the faulty budget. This is for accounting ethics today. So first we're going to go through this accounting dilemma, but we want to know who is involved in the dilemma. We have first Jackson Daniels, who is a recent college graduate who works in the accounting department for Lynchburg Manufacturing. Jonathan Walker is his best friend, someone also who is familiar with the company. Jimmy Pete Beam, he goes by Pete. Pete is actually the VP of production for Lynchburg and has a sense of no tolerance for any errors within his floor. And also Jose Cuervo. Now Jose is the controller for Lynchburg Manufacturing. So now let's move on to the dilemma and gather the facts of this. What we have here is Jackson was given a job to produce a sales budget for the upcoming year. As he was going through his numbers and he actually performed this budget, the company relied on this and hired 20 new people in the company, and in so doing, to meet demand. So what we have is Jackson realizes that he's made a mistake, that he's actually, the budget that he produced is wrong, and by double actually, and used the wrong inputs. So what Jackson actually does is he goes and he speaks to his best friend Jonathan Walker, who again is familiar with the company and familiar with Pete's management style. And he asks about whether or not what he should do. And Jonathan responds and says, "Don't tell Pete," because he's worried about Jackson getting fired. So what does Jackson do in this moment? Well, Jackson decides to go speak to Pete regardless of what Jonathan said. And he goes and he tells him about the error and what needs to happen next. Pete's response, he goes and he says, "Do not tell Jose, the controller. This is on me as well. It's not just you, Jackson. Keep it to yourself." So what are Jackson's options, right? Or Jack Daniels' options? Do nothing, or tell the controller, Jose, or report to the owners, which wasn't really seen in the scenario, but I thought was something relevant to the situation. If he does nothing, he ignores his moral obligations. If he tells the controller, he's actually doing something that he's needed to do, is come clean on it. And also, if he doesn't feel comfortable about doing that, report to the owners and let them make the decision. So what would I choose? I would choose option number 2. I think going and telling Jose is the best option. Because you're able to be morally safe in this situation and ethically safe. As you've made the decision, made the error in the sales budget, you should be able to own up to it, but understand that there are consequences to it. And also, I think that Jose has a greater moral compass, and will be able to do something about that rather than Pete, who seems like he is not morally ethical. So 2, what if Jackson decides to go against Pete's request? This is exactly what option number 2 was, right? You need to understand the consequences, but you need to go make that decision to go talk to Jose. Because if you're going to talk to someone who sounds like they're more ethical, they might understand your point of view. What is at stake for the key parties? I've identified 4 key parties. You have Jackson, Pete, Jose, and then the owners of Lynchburg Manufacturing. Again, Jackson could lose his job. He could see his colleagues get fired, and also lose confidence in himself. Pete could lose his job because he knows about the situation and does nothing about it. Jose, again, could be viewed by the owners as someone that hires incompetent people like Jackson for doing day-to-day sales budgeting. And then the owners, obviously, they could get backlash from the community, and they could also operate at a loss because they're overstaffed for production. Number 4, what are the main arguments you're likely to encounter in making a strong case? Some of the arguments I thought of to counter my option of going to talk to Jose is that this is no longer Jackson's issue, but this is Pete's issue, and he should be able to take care of it because he is upper management. Number 2 is telling Jose about the error may actually be better for company morale. If people in different departments see that people are getting laid off, they might start looking for another job outside of it, even though it might not affect their department. But however, if they do rely on this sales budget, it will affect the entire company. Number 5, what is your most powerful and persuasive response that you may have to address? First of all, who is the argument best made to? And I think the best argument is made to Jose and to the owners. Jose knows the financials of the business, and the owners are probably very well endowed into the business and want to know what is going on. And when and in what context. I think going to speak to Jose in his office, away from everyone and away from the sales floor, is the most important and the best place to go. And it shows that understanding that this is more important, coming clean morally is more important than any sort of job. Because if you keep your moral integrity, you will be able to succeed in life. And that is the faulty budget. Thank you.